to welcome everybody. So good evening. Thanks for joining us. And this is going to be the first of Live Well series that I'm going to be doing. My intentions are once a month in bringing to you just various aspects of living well, because it's more than nutrition. While we're going to kick off with nutrition tonight, it's much more. It's fitness, it's mindset, it's self-care. There's so many other aspects of living truly a healthy lifestyle and living an abundant life, the best we can. So my hopes is to bring to you guys various aspects of that with some guest speakers throughout the year. With that said, tonight we're going to start with nutrition. And I have the pleasure of introducing a guest, Dr. Beth Westy, who I've gotten to know over the last several months and just have been amazed at learning things as it relates to, just females and our bodies are different. And just little things I never knew, which at almost 50, wish I knew 30 years ago. So, it just resonated with me and a lot of people. So I just wanted to introduce Dr. Beth Westy, who's a chiropractor, author, and women's health expert. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Beth Westy.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. I am really excited to do this. This is literally my favorite thing, is to talk about women's health, to educate, and just to have women learn more about what's going on naturally in their bodies and how to work with their hormones, work with their bodies, so it doesn't feel like you're constantly fighting this battle with yourself. So I'll give you guys a little background history on me. So I'm from Minnesota. I grew up on a small goat farm just south of St. Paul, and I played volleyball in high school and in college, and then went to graduate school, had some babies, started to practice, and then decided to fall and really jump into writing and speaking to focus on women's health. So that is my nice passion and everything. Yeah. Just to really focus on women, really focus on educating and hormones and everything else. So there also, I'll tell everybody, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Zoom, but if you do have questions throughout the process, don't hesitate. You can put some questions in the chat thread, and I can kind of go through that as I go through some of these things. Oh, yes, perfect. Using the chat thread. That way, if I go through something and you're like, whoa, what? We can kind of chat about it. So all this information is in my upcoming book called The Female Fat Solution. And I'm going to be going through kind of really important key pieces about women's health. To start, though, kind of one of the reasons why I do all of this, and part of what really fires me up, is that when you really look at the history of nutrition, when you look at how nutrition is formed in our country and why these recommendations are the way they are, why is the nutrition label on every single piece of packaged food, why is it formed that way? Why are the recommendations percentages that way? And the answer is that everything is done on research, or done through research, and research is done on men. They take groups of men and they do different testing and put them through different studies and find outcomes, but then research is gathered on men and it's compiled by men. So the recommendations for all these things are really for men. Women are really following, if you're following kind of the general base guidelines that are out there, you're following a map that's not made for you. So oftentimes women struggle and they're frustrated with the results. There's this classic story of a husband and wife will go on a diet together, and the husband loses 15 pounds while eating pizza and drinking beer, and the wife will be like, what? I eat a salad every day, and I went to the gym, and I lost 2 pounds. What the crap is this? Yep. And that is the difference between men and women. So it's because the recommendations, the map that you're following is not made for you. So I'm going to talk about specific nutritional changes that you can really apply for your health, for your cycle, for your hormones, and really bring out the benefits there. So, to get started here, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to make sure you guys can see this there. So this is you guys can see this, right? Yes? Thumbs up? Okay, good. So this is an example of just hormones in the body. This is day 1. Here, day 14, midpoint, and day 28. This is an average, right? Not everyone has the exact same cycle. Not everybody has the exact same things going on at the same time, but just an average of what happens to the body. Day 1, the first day of your period. Day 14 is the switch over of hormones. That's when you ovulate. And day 28 is the end of it. And then you start back over again at day 1. When we're in the first phase here, the dominant hormone is estrogen. Estrogen kind of rules the roost here. Now, estrogen is really important. It does a lot of specific things in the body. It's going to boost your metabolism naturally. So things are going to be moving through your body faster than normal. Your digestive system is going to be working faster than normal. It's also going to increase your energy. You're going to feel like you have more energy, you know, going on, and faster recovery. So from workouts, things like that, you can bounce back faster. That's what estrogen does. Another really fantastic thing estrogen does is it burns carbohydrates. Really, really fun there. Now in the second phase here, after ovulation, the hormone progesterone, that's supposed to be a P. The P for progesterone. Progesterone is higher. Progesterone does the complete opposite thing in the body as estrogen. Progesterone actually slows down your digestive system. It's called progestation. So it's preparing your body for a viable pregnancy every month, whether or not it happens. Decreases gallbladder activity, and all of that is to slow down everything to try and absorb all the nutrient from the food that you're eating. Yay! But in the meantime, it can cause some digestive issues here. The other thing that it does is it's going to decrease your energy a little bit. You may notice that, oh, I have some good energy in the beginning of the day, but I am, you know, really lacking in energy as the day goes on, or especially at the end of the day, I tend to crash hard. I'm not recovering as well from my workouts, you know. So again, nutritionally, just focusing on switching things up a little bit during this phase, just to keep on top of it. So the other thing that progesterone does, though, is that it also burns fat naturally. So we're going to take those two things here when we talk about, you know, estrogen burning carbs, and then progesterone burning fat, and we're going to focus on specific nutritional things to do for each of these. So this okay, so this happens, and again, this is an estimate. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody's going to have the exact same thing going on. Some people ovulate a little earlier or later. Some women, their cycles, you know, 34 days or 42 days. It's going to be different for everybody, but this is sort of an average of what goes on. If you start to pay attention to your body, to your hormones, you're going to notice this happen. Now, another way to track that is to actually use basal body temperature. So basal body temperature is temperature first thing in the morning. You wake up, take your temperature before you get out of bed, all those other things. Most women don't care about that unless they're trying to get pregnant. But if you're curious at where you are and you don't know, you can try basal body to figure out where you're at. Now, the other thing too with basal body that I'll let you know in on, if you're looking to get a thermometer, you can just get a regular thermometer. They'll go to the store and be like, oh, basal body thermometer, that must be fancy. No, it's the same. It's a thermometer. They just make it fancy and put a little higher price tag on it for you. It's like wedding stuff, you know. Oh, this is a candle. Oh, a wedding candle, 3 times the price. Great. So regular thermometer will work just fine for basal body. Key is that you take it in the morning before you wake up, or before you get out of bed, before you do anything else, right after you wake up, and just write it down. If you have, the most common question I get when I go through this is for women who don't necessarily have an active cycle going on. If you're on birth control of any kind, if you've had a hysterectomy, perimenopause, menopause, all those things. Now, you still have some type of hormone shift happen in the body. It's just going to be in a smaller scale, because estrogen and progesterone are also produced by other cells in the body besides your ovaries. Ovaries are the main producer of these guys here. Now, when those ovaries become inactive for whatever reason, these hormones will still happen, and they'll still shift from other, from other tissues. So neural tissue, as well as fat tissue and everything else, shifts these hormones. So hopefully that makes sense. Amy asked that question. Yeah. Yeah. And then, so that's sort of the basic right there. So we're going to dive into some specifics here on how estrogen burns carbs and fat and different nutritional changes you can make to help work with that change and to help your body burn more carbs, to help your body burn more fat. Yay! I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay. Oh, this marker is spicy today. Okay. So, that's a good, okay. So when we talk about carbs and burning carbs and the best type of carbs to be eating, we're going to talk about carb cycling. So overall with estrogen, when we're working with estrogen, we're going to be wanting to focus on those carbs, and to help that estrogen work better, we're going to focus on cooling foods. Overall foods that are cooling for the body. Can you guys see that okay? I don't think that that's as good. You can? Okay. So tiny on my screen. So cooling foods. So this is also an Eastern medicine philosophy. This is something that's very, very different. So a lot of times people, women in other countries will maybe eat for their hormones and cycle in different ways. It just is very, very different. Okay. So we talk about cooling foods. Foods that are going to help work with estrogen and cool the body down. Okay. Thanks, Lisa. So it's easy to make these switches and changes. So this is not, that's the other thing I should mention, is that one reason I really like working with the body and hormones and everything else is that this doesn't have to be really strict. It's not exclusive. That means, meaning it's not going to be really rigid. If you have things going on in your life and it's really tough to stay on a rigid program, which most people have a hard time staying on a rigid program, then you're not going to be successful. In fact, a study I read showed that of a really strict dietary plan, only 5% of people can have success with that. That's terrible. That's a terrible success rate. 5%? Ugh. So nutrition plans need to be flexible and work with the body, and that's what this is. It needs to work with your lifestyle. So we talk about cooling the body down. This does not have to be like really strict and rigid and everything else. It's more of, okay, are you doing more things during the day to cool the body down than to warm it? Good. You know, are you working with that hormone more than not? Perfect. Then you're going to be moving in that cooling direction. What happens when you are taking a progesterone supplement? Okay, we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there, because that's a little different thing. So with estrogen and cooling the body down, we're going to be looking at foods like chicken, turkey, fish. These are cooling proteins overall. Any fruits and vegetables that are raw, also very, very cooling for the body. What just happened? What?
I think Danielle is sharing her screen.
Oh. That's fancy. I don't know how to not do it from my end. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, that was fun. Okay, you're going to show me how to do it. I was like, what? I turned it on. I was like, I swear I didn't touch anything. Okay. Raw fruits and vegetables are very, very cooling for the body. And this is actually something that's really helpful to eat during the estrogen phase. So during days 1 through 14 on your cycle, because your body has more active digestive enzymes to break down the fibrous material in these raw fruits and vegetables. And we'll talk about the opposite in the progesterone phase. But with your digestive system really going, those raw fruits and vegetables can be broken down much, much easier and much better. So anything iced, beverages that are iced tea, iced water, all those things, again, very, very cooling for the body. There's also going to be some spices that are very cool, mint, right? Mint is very cooling. Rosemary is more cooling. So cooking, you can even cook with and put, like mint in your water, things like that, and make your food be more cooling. So easy ways to eat, we'll say normal healthy foods, just kind of shift what you're doing to match with the cooling process of estrogen. So that's going to help estrogen work better. It's going to help keep estrogen in balance, and it's going to help you burn more carbs naturally. Now, the other fun thing that we're going to go through, super fun, when we talk about estrogen burning carbs, we're going to talk about a carb cycle. Carb cycle, so fancy. Have you guys heard of carb cycling before? Yes, no, maybe, yes, a few of you, okay. So carb cycling, really, really fancy way of saying you eat different amounts of carbs on different days. That's kind of it. How this works in the body is that it actually plays with a hormone called leptin. And leptin is a hormone that really helps with satiety, so it's making you feel full, making you feel satisfied, everything else. And by switching the amount of carbs each day, you play off of that and make sure that nothing acclimates too much. Your body's very adaptable. So if you've heard the term, oh, don't do the same workout 2 days in a row, or don't do the same workout all the time because your body's going to adapt to it and it's not going to be as impactful, right? Same type of process here, and you're doing it with the carb amounts that you're eating. So you don't want your body to adapt to it. You always want to keep your body guessing. That keeps your metabolism going as quickly as possible. Kind of give it that 1-2 punch all the time. 1, 2, sorry. Such a dork sometimes. Okay, so we're just going to we're going to do a 5-day carb cycle that we're going to go through. So this is something that's really, really easy to follow and do. I have some nutrition plans and stuff that have this mapped out and everything, but essentially if you've got a fit MyFitnessPal, things like that, you can track how many carbs you're eating throughout the day and just count. So one of the things that when you talk about carb cycles, first, what is a carb? We're going to be very specific on this. So any bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, fruit, things like that, right? Those are all, we do count fruit. I do not count vegetables. If you look at a bag of spinach, on the label it will say, oh, 5 grams of carb. No, that doesn't count. So we're counting like real carbs, like the carbs you actually really like to eat, like pasta, bread, that stuff, crackers, pretzels, those things. And then the other thing is the fruit, just because it's just high in, it's the fructose. So the way it gets burned and processed in the body. So these are all the carbs that we're talking about. And this is one of my favorite things to do. Why? Because there's days where you eat a lot of carb. How fun is that? I really can't think of anything better. Oh, you're going to put me on a meal plan where I'm going to eat a bagel? Okay. Sweet. So day 1 would be eating, and this is a lot of carb, 200 grams of carb. Day 2 is 150. Day 3 is 100. Day 4, 50 grams of carb. And then day 5 is 125 grams. So that's essentially what that's a 5-day carb cycle. So if you wanted to do a carb cycle and you wanted to do Monday through Friday, this would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, going through 200, 150, 150, then the 125. So you wanted to take a break for the weekend, you totally could. You would keep it at that 120, 125 level. That's kind of an even keel amount of carb before starting over again. You could back them up back to back and do like 10 days right in a row. Absolutely. Again, why I love this. This is flexible. You're able to adapt this to your life, as for what you have going on in your day-to-day schedule. If you have a wedding coming up and you're like, whew, I want to be doing my carb cycle, but I'm going to so-and-so's wedding. What am I going to do? Boom, make this be your wedding day, or the cheat meal or whatnot, whatever that is. Big carb day, sweet. And then just back it up from there. So you can make it fit in with your lifestyle really, really easily without being really restrictive. So again, how this works, again, keeping your body from adapting to everything, keeping it from being complacent with this. So 200 and 150 grams of carb. I mean, this is a lot of carb. This is definitely a higher amount of carbohydrates. Now, you don't have to hit it like exactly, right? If you're at like 149, that's good. Some people worry about like, does it have to be 200 exactly? I'm at 198. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's good, right? But you want it to be within about 10 grams. If you're off by more than 10 grams, it's not quite there. But 10 grams is like a corn tortilla. is 10 grams of carb, right there. There's about 25 grams of carb in an apple, a medium-sized apple. So little amounts of carb just to kind of put in your head here when we're talking about this. So 200 grams of carb the first day, and then 150 the second day. Now this, you're going to feel full. Like you're going to be, whew, this is a lot, right? It's a lot to process and take in. Now this is going to tell your body that it has a lot of fuel available. We've got a lot of carbohydrate here. We've got a lot to process and burn through. So all of a sudden, your metabolism is going to go and start revving up and working really, really fast. It's going to make that noise too. Just listen for it. It'll happen. And then you drop that carb amount down to 100 and then 50. So within a 3-4 day span here, you're going from 200 to 50. That's a huge difference in terms of carbohydrate. So you're still having some, right? You're still having something here, but it's just not near that large amount. So your body then at this point is burning at this level, but you're only intaking this much. That's where you take advantage. And then when you're doing that during the estrogen phase, it's like you're double burning the carbs. And then you're going to notice a huge shift and change in your results. So a lot of times if you have somebody that's reaching a plateau or they're really stuck and they're doing really well with their protein, they're eating some good proteins, they're following a good protocol, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just stuck at this level. What's one way I can bust past it? Boom, throw in a carb cycle. It's amazing some of the things that shift and change in the body when you shock your metabolism in a completely different way. Do people do carb cycles often or once in a while? That's a great question. So people sometimes will go through a phase where they're doing carb cycling again and again and again. It's not something you want to eat like this all the time, like forever, right? But say you want to break a plateau, you may do a carb cycle. It could be, you could do 3 or 4 pounds. This could be a 3 or 4 pound difference in this one carb cycle. Maybe you want to back to back 3 of them. Do that for, about 15 days. Great. And then you can take a break from it for a week or 2 and then go back to it. So it's really, really flexible in terms of what your schedule is, what your goals are, and that type of a thing. They're good carbs. Not like pizza, right? Pizza. I know, pizza's one of my favorites. Yeah, well, if it's a homemade pizza and it's not processed, I'm not going to get mad at it. It could be bread. That's bread. Well, bread with tomato sauce on it, right? Cheese is protein. See, I could talk myself into that one. Technically, pizza is not listed as a healthy meal, right? But there is a lot of carb in pizza. So I will tell you this, when I'm going through a carb cycle, and we usually do pizza and movie night at my house. I have 3 kids. They're 6, 8, and 10. So when we do pizza and movie night, I will make pizza night. I'll just throw it in there with my high carb day. Makes it easy. Yeah. I usually have to cleanse soon after that, but still getting that pizza and movie night in. Oh yes, that's grams per day. Yeah. So you're going to be eating 200 grams for the whole day. Which, that's a lot. There's just a lot of carb. But you're going to want to space that out. If you're going and only eating like 20 grams of carb at breakfast and at lunch, yeah, and then you got 160 grams of carb to eat at dinner, whew, yeah, that's a lot. So there's some other meal plans and stuff that I've put out on Facebook. Again, you can message me or whatever, and I can send some stuff to you if you're curious. But yeah, you'll want to kind of evenly space this out throughout the day to get through it. Yes. What else? I'm just checking to see if there's another cleanse. Yes, we cleanse because we love our pizza and wine. Yes, yes we do. Yes. Okay, good. So this is carb cycling and everything, kind of a quick overview of it. And again, focusing on this during the estrogen phase. So when you're looking at the first 2 weeks of your cycle, so day 1 is the first day of your period, all the way up to day 14. So if you were going to focus on kind of shifting and eating for your cycle, you get your period, you're going to cool your body down, you're going to focus on chicken and fish and everything. And then you're going to focus on chicken and fish, and then you're going to start your carb cycle. So that's another thing, like first day of your period, big carb day. Not a bad day. And then you kind of go from there, and you can repeat this again 2, maybe 3 times before you switch over into the other phase, which is the warming phase for progesterone. So this one might be too light. Yeah, I think that's too light. Too light to see with the lighting I have right now in here. Okay, so we're going to do this. Warming foods for progesterone. Now, one of the things for progesterone when we talk about fat burning, we are going to, focus on burning more fat cells and everything else, which you do through the cleanse. When you do a cleanse day, you're focusing on that visceral fat. When you do that during days 14 through 28, the second half of your cycle, you're really going to be focusing on targeting those fat cells in a completely different way. So warming foods are going to be foods like beef, right? You guys see that okay? Yeah, okay. Beef and bacon. Bacon's also very warming, in terms of meat. Again, if you were to eat chicken during this phase, does it ruin everything? No, not at all. You can always add spices to it to help heat it up a little bit, bring in that internal heat with it. You're going to want to have cooked fruits and vegetables. Again, with progesterone slowing down your digestive system, making your gallbladder less active, it's a lot tougher to break down that fibrous material in raw fruits and vegetables. So cooking it in any type of fashion is going to help. Now, again, how much do you cook an apple and eat it, right? But the more you cook and steam your vegetables here especially, the easier it's going to be to digest, break down, and get the nutrients from in this progesterone phase here. And oftentimes, gals, they will have different digestive issues during this phase and not even notice it. But, once you start to kind of pay attention, you may notice the difference here. You're going to just want hot beverages. Now, hot coffee, hot tea, caffeine is very warming for the body. Dairy is also very, very warming. Very, very warming. And then spices of any kind. So peppers, bell peppers, jalapeno peppers, all those other things. Any type of spice that you would add, salsa, all that stuff, right? Very, very warming, and it'll bring a lot of heat to the body. That in and of itself is going to help your body burn more fat during this phase. Sriracha, yes. Yes, totally. Adding some put Frank's Red Hot, right? Put that on everything. And that's going to help you burn and target more fat during this phase. It'll also help, just process and digest things differently. There was something else I was going to mention about this. Digestive system slowing down. Oh yeah. One thing that's really tough to digest, and this is kind of a random thing for women when your progesterone is high, is peanuts. So you may want to switch from using a lot of peanut butter to an almond butter, just because there's a component in the peanuts that works better when your gallbladder is more active. So again, overall warming foods here. If you're taking a snapshot of the day and of the week, are you doing things more to warm the body up, bring heat into the body? Great. If not, then, anything you can do to help tip the scales is great. Question, dairy is also inflammatory, which can cause issues during week 4. Yes, PMS, yes. So that's the only thing. Dairy in and of itself is very warming, but it also is inflammatory, which is a slightly different process for the body. But there is a benefit to having like full fat, healthy dairy in your body in amounts, as long as your body can handle it. If your body does not process that dairy well, then just leave it out, because that's sort of a separate issue versus bringing heat into the body. You're not bringing heat in, you'd be pissing it off then, and that causes the inflammation. So bringing all this stuff in, bringing all the heat in. Now, this is a really great thing to do here, as well as that when you're looking at kind of meal planning and scheduling things out, it's great to just kind of look at what you normally eat and just start shifting it periodically. Now, other family members and people are not going to be affected in the same way as you are with making these changes dietary-wise, because they don't have that same underlying hormone going on. So, don't worry about, oh, my husband, is he going to get weirded out by eating like this? Nope. He doesn't have that baseline hormone shift and change, so it's not going to affect him the same. And it's easy to, and it's easy to shift and change things here for regular meals, like tacos. We make tacos a lot, again, because it's easy and fast to make, and you can add stuff to it to make it healthier or whatnot. But we'll make beef tacos here, and I'll add more spice during this phase. I'll make chicken tacos in my cooling phase, and I won't put as much spice on it, but I'll use more cilantro because that's a cooling, a cooling herb. So little things that you can use the same type of foods that you normally eat and are used to, but shifting them either warming or cooling to help work with your body more. The more you do this, the more benefit you're going to get from it. And the more you're going to notice, oh my gosh, I am getting way less PMS symptoms. Oh, this whole cycle was like just non-existently, tough for me. I didn't even notice it. It came and went, not a big deal. And it's going to help regulate hormones overall. You're going to, it doesn't happen right away though. That's the only difference, is that it takes a little bit of time to kind of imprint on your body and your hormones for you to really see the full results. Now, and the reason is that because timing wise, it takes women a longer time to see these results than it does for men. Again, going back to the beginning with a whole map that women follow that's made for men, men can see results really, really quickly. For women to see results, you want to have it hormonally make a difference. And it takes a minimum of 3 months for hormones to shift and change in the body. That's just how long it takes. I wish it was faster. But 3 months, so you're looking at 12 weeks of going through a system to really have it make a difference. Now, this is also a conversation I have with people, whether I'm getting them started on, just dietary changes, or I'm getting them started on cleansing and doing like a 30-day system. I want to make sure that if they have any type of hormonal issue underlying there going on, oh, I've had kids or I've been on birth control, those are all hormonal issues, that they understand that, starting off with a 30-day is great, but you're not going to get the same kind of result at the end of that 30 days as if you do at the end of the 3 months, at the 12 weeks. So I always project out for that 3-month mark. Okay, we're going to get you started here. This is the first month, but we're going to have to go through and really focus on the first 3 months, because that's how long it takes women's hormones to change. And it's a very different mindset shift going into it. So again, they're not necessarily looking at just 30 days for the result. Some people are like, well, I followed it mostly, or this was great, or maybe I lost a few pounds here and there, but I don't know. And it wasn't long enough for them. So it's that 3-month mark, and that's a minimum 3-month mark for women. And if they've had multiple pregnancies, if they've had a history of like breast cancer or something like that, other toxic issues, mold exposure, traumatic events in their life, sometimes even big physical injuries that will affect your hormones, that means that you are not going to have the same fast result of 3 months. It's going to take at least 6 months or more. So again, not a fun thing to share, but it's being honest and letting women know that, hey, I know you've tried to make these healthy changes in the past, but you haven't given your body enough time. You've been selling yourself short, and you've been, quitting too early for what your body needs to see those results. So take that nugget and share it with everybody. 3-month mark. That's what I wish it said that on like every package of everything for women, for hormonal changes and stuff. 3 months. That's what it takes. Oh yeah, thyroid conditions that can affect any of this. Yes, the entire endocrine system does affect everything else. So if you're having thyroid issues, then it really is going to impact how well some of these hormones play with each other. So focusing on, okay, warming and cooling can help kind of regulate those hormones. For thyroid though, honestly, there's some of the adaptogens that are the best. Ashwagandha, sometimes I'll boost a little more ashwagandha to really help with thyroid. Double up on that, triple up on that, on the ionics. It makes a huge difference for thyroid issues. A couple other things nutritionally to watch for. Thyroid really does not like nightshade vegetables. So potatoes, like white potatoes, sweet potatoes are not a nightshade vegetable, but white potatoes are. Eggplant, and then any type of pepper is a nightshade vegetable. Tomatoes are also a nightshade vegetable. Just really irritate the thyroid. So if you take out those nightshades, boost the ionics, it can really help that thyroid function a lot better. Oh yeah, somebody else had that question about adding in progesterone. So if you're taking a progesterone booster, that means you're not having enough progesterone in the body. You can help your body boost its own progesterone. And that's a very common thing actually for women who are estrogen dominant. I'm not sure if you guys have heard that terminology before, being estrogen dominant. There's certain chemicals in like plastic bottles, soy, all that stuff that kind of makes women more estrogen dominant. And that means that your progesterone levels are too low, and then the estrogen's just overpowering everything. It's like at a dangerous monster level. You want to have this even shift and flow. You know, there should be this ebb and flow in your body all the time. Nothing should be too overpowering though. So you're taking this progesterone supplement to help balance out the amount of estrogen. So increase your heat, increase the spices and everything else to help boost the progesterone more to help balance that out. So the more, so I would say be more extreme than with the heat. Be more extreme with how much spice you're bringing into your body. You know, really kick that up into gear. That's going to make a big, big difference for you. And yes, you know, long term and everything. That's good. Can you level your thyroid through food? A little bit. You can help it. It's tough to do it just through food. Oh, Ionix, yes. So Ionix, I would say like even double it or even triple it. You know, and take it in the morning and take it at night, because your body's going to need that constant reminder of it. You know, you take the vitamins morning and at night, right? Those things only last about 12 hours in your system. That's just how long it takes to process through your digestive tract. So after about 12 hours, it's not there anymore. So that's why it's really important you're taking something in the morning and at night if you're really focused on boosting it. A lot of times people take the Ionix in the morning because during the day is when they're the most, you know, encountering the most stress, right? Taking Ionix in the morning and at night actually helps your body combat any other stress issues at night. What could be stressful at night? The internal chemistry and the hormones is what you're trying to balance out then. Am I making sense? Yes? Okay. Sometimes I just go off on a tangent. Get excited. Okay. So yeah, so taking the Ionix in the morning and at night is going to have the best impact in terms of hormone and thyroid and everything else. Ashwagandha, though, specifically is like the #1 adaptogen for really targeting the thyroid. So you can Google some real fun info on that. I love ashwagandha. Love me some ashwagandha. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Are there any other? I don't want to miss any other questions here. Let me make sure I got them. Okay. I think I did. Does anybody have any other questions on any of this stuff? No. Oh. Hypoparathyroidism with high D. So you're taking high vitamin D? I'm going to try and unmute you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have hypoparathyroidism. I inherited that, luckily, from my mom.
Yay.
And I have an ironic situation going on in that I have very high vitamin D levels, but I have calcium going out in my urine. And so I don't take any medication for that, because I do know that one strong side effect of any of those can cause cancer. So in the meantime, I'm losing very high percentages of bone every year.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you could suggest that I could possibly do to help with that? Because I can't take vitamin D supplements.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the really tough thing with that, is that we'll say is a different case. You know, that's you're a special situation. I would say the biggest relief you can get from your system is really with the adaptogens.
Okay.
That's going to help, we'll say, calm it down, slow it down, because you can't take more vitamin D or anything else. And again, the medications that they have for it, yes, they can help with it, but yeah, they're awful.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm in a profession where I can't afford to be like jaw pain, stomach pain. I can't, you know, I work in the fitness industry, so I can't be in a situation where if I can't function, I can't work.
Yeah.
So in that regard, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Tough.
So yeah, I would say start ramping up your adaptogens
Okay.
and see how that feels for you. And for you, I would say, you know, timing throughout the day.
Okay.
You know, so not just twice a day, but like 3 or 4 times a day, really, you know, just flooding your system with some of those adaptogens, and that's going to help.
Okay. I'll look up that ashwagandha and
Yeah. It's in the ionics, but oftentimes I'll have people take an additional ashwagandha specifically on top of that just because of the benefits of it.
okay. I'll look.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Taking Armour thyroid, metformin, progesterone, vitamin D. Oh, that's a lot. Yes. That is a lot. I would say, yes. I would say if you're okay with it, maybe this would be a good conversation to have. You can message me on Facebook and we can chat about it then, because that's a lot of different things going on there. I mean, the good thing is when I talk about warming versus cooling, you can still follow that with everything else that you're doing. Yeah, but in terms of specific recommendation for, you know, with some of the products that's going to help make a difference, yeah, send me a message and we can touch base there. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk about, so I don't keep you guys on a call all night, right? It's protein and protein absorption. Yes. So one of the things when we talk about protein absorption, it's really important that you're getting higher levels of protein in. The daily recommendation is for women to get about 47 grams of protein for the day. Now, one of the things that, again, when we talk about recommendations and what the FDA recommends and all these other things, they include these bottom line amounts, and that's basically so you're not getting a horrible disease. You know, they make a base recommendation for like vitamin C, so you don't get scurvy. A base recommendation for vitamin D, so you don't get rickets. You know, that's not like what we would call a healthy nutrient boosting amount. So when they say things like, oh, well, you're only supposed to have, you know, small amounts of protein, only like 47 grams, it's like a medium chicken breast. I'm like, for the day, are you kidding? No, that's a bottom line amount, right? That's not going to do a lot to help boost your energy, boost your nutrition, and get you to different levels in your health. So increasing your protein is going to be really, really important. And again, that's one of the reasons I just love having shakes and bars and everything else available. It's so convenient to help add that in. So oftentimes I'll have, essentially, I'll have a breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And, you know, to increase protein. So I'm a big gal, right? I don't know if you guys saw the video Lisa and I did at NYKO. She saw me. I'm huge. I'm 6'2". She's I think a good foot shorter than me, right? She's a good foot shorter. So when I talk about protein amounts, I eat at least 160 grams of protein a day. 160 to 170 is my target goal. So for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different. But when we look at getting a higher amount of protein, oftentimes just kind of breaking it down for the day is an easy way to do it. So say you're boosting your protein and you're trying to get to 125 for the day. Now, also keep this in mind. In terms of breaking a plateau, this is another kind of tip here for breaking plateaus and getting to new levels. You can alter this amount as long as you're using clean, lean proteins, whether it be from a shake or, you know, food or something. You can alter this amount a little bit to help shoot past certain amounts. So say your goal weight is 120 and you're at 130 and you dropped already like 10 pounds. So you're halfway there, but you're just really, really stuck and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. But my goal weight is 120 and I'm trying to get there. That's the amount of protein I'm eating. You can take a couple of weeks and eat more protein, you know, so you're going to, you know, like at least 20 grams or 25 grams more protein. You want it to be a significant amount. That'd be like an extra shake a day of increased protein, and then do that for a short period of time, and then drop back down to your normal amount. Again, that's going to help, again, boost that lean muscle mass, shift things in your metabolism, and help break a plateau. So, a little side note. But getting 125 grams of protein for the day sounds like a lot, and it kind of is. But to break that down per meal, you just get then 25 grams of protein 5 times a day. Other benefit of that is that you're also eating more frequently, every 2 to 3 hours. That also keeps your metabolism going. If you're going, because of the way proteins, fats, and carbs are burned in the body. So carbs, where do I want to do this? Here. Proteins, fats, carbs. Okay, yeah, you guys can see that. Proteins, fats, and carbs. Proteins are burned up in the body in about 2 to 3 hours. Fats take about 4 hours at most, and carbs, they can take, 1 to maybe 2 hours, depending, but usually it's closer to that 1 hour mark. So this means when you're eating food and you want to eat in the protein pacing, yes. Oh my God, I got a picture of the guy who talked about protein pacing, and he's now my new boyfriend. I'm obsessed. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna post it sometime on Facebook this week. I'm so excited. Okay, just got me. Yeah, so excited. Okay, so proteins, fats, and carbs. When you're eating complete nutrients that, like the shakes that have protein, fats, and carbs, you're gonna burn through that carb first, and then you're gonna get through that protein. The only energy you're gonna have left is that healthy fat. And that if you get to a 4 hour mark or past it, your tank is empty. Your gas tank is totally empty, and that will halt your metabolism and slow things down. So eating every 2 to 3 hour mark is just gonna keep coupling your metabolism and keep things going and moving. So that's why we eat frequently. And then that's also why this is so key in fitting it in, eating like 5 to 6 meals a day, but having it spaced out in about even amounts of protein. 25 grams 5 times a day equals 125. He was a cutie. Okay. So how does this work? And this is a great way. You can shift and change things around any way you like. Say you only get 20 grams of protein here and 30 grams of protein here. Perfect. Again, you're close to the mark. It doesn't have to be exact all the time. So oftentimes, again, if I'm busy and on the go during the day, I'll have a meal here, maybe some eggs. There's about 6 grams of protein in an egg, so I'll have a couple of eggs, half a cup of Greek yogurt. Boom, 25 grams of protein. Of course, I'll have some, healthy fats and carb as well there, because that's just a lot of straight protein. Then maybe I have a shake, maybe something for lunch. Maybe it's a bar if I'm on the go and I don't have anything, or I'll find a meal that's got 25 grams of protein, another shake, and then a healthy dinner. So ways to break it up so you're getting this amount of protein. Now, when you're breaking it down in foods, you want to make sure that your body's actually absorbing the proteins that you're eating. So when we look at this, so this is your intestine. Your intestine is essentially like a tube, right? And everything passes through here, and everything gets broken down and then absorbed into the bloodstream from there. So everything comes in and goes out. Sorry. Okay. When we look at the molecules, though, themselves, we want to make sure they're really, really easy to break down. So there is one protein molecule that is just ginormous. It is huge. It is the largest protein molecule in the human diet. It's soy. Soy is huge. So any type of soy that anybody's consuming, I don't care if it's cold washed or fermented or whatever, on a molecular level, it is still soy, and that protein molecule is still ginormous. It's like a bowling ball going through a garden hose. Your body's going to want to break down some of it, but it's going to be really, really tough. It might break down some of the pieces of it and everything, but you're not going to be getting that much protein from it. Meaning, say you're getting a protein shake or some type of protein source that is soy-based, and you're planning on getting 20 grams of protein from it, but because it's so large and it can't break down, the actual absorption rate here of this stuff is only going to be, 2, maybe 3 grams. Your body just can't break it down. It's not designed to. Soy was actually not really a food designed to really be a main source of protein for humans. If you look biologically, like we're not cows, we're not, we don't have 4 stomachs to help kind of process through it. I'll stop talking about cows. Okay. Next type of protein molecules here they're smaller. We're going to be looking at like whey protein and then other meats, nuts, eggs, stuff like that. Much, much smaller, especially when we're talking. So when people really look at the bioavailability of protein, most of the studies, by the way, are done on denatured whey proteins. So when you actually look at the undenatured whey protein that Isagenix has, bioavailability is just up there. So when we look at percentages, if it's not an Isagenix protein, an undenatured grass-fed whey protein, you know, I only look at and say, okay, if there's 20 grams of protein on that label, your body's only bioavailability is going to be about 10 grams. That's just, you know, for somebody else's junk protein. For the Isagenix stuff, again, it's 24 grams of protein. For just the isolene, you're going to get anywhere from 22 to 23. Wow, that is, I am terrible at writing right now. Sorry. Oh, that did not make it better. I made it all the way through this so far without really being messy, and now it's just bad. Okay. 22 to 23 grams is what your body is going to uptake. So when you're really looking at trying to increase your protein numbers and do the correct math, I call it, making these little choices makes all the difference in the world. Because otherwise, you're just not going to get to those levels. You just can't. It's going to be that much harder to do it. So bioavailability there, 22 to 23 grams for that. The last type of protein here, just little teeny, teeny, tiny proteins here. They're just absorbed really quickly and easily, typically into the body. Things like pea protein, hemp protein, rice protein, you know, all the things that are in the isolene dairy-free shake. Those are really easily absorbed. Again, going to have, great thing is though, that they're going to have the same absorption rate here as the undenatured whey protein, which is cool. So this is a really big deal. It's amazing, and they recently did those studies. The started with an S. The college. Do you know what I'm talking about? They put those studies out there. What was it called? Where are you? I can't. What was it, Lisa? Well, Lisa, do you remember what the studies were called? Like Skidmore College or something like that?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, okay. So they did these studies that actually specifically looked at high protein diets and then high protein diets that included Isagenix. And they found that the results were above and beyond with the Isagenix system. And that's honestly because of this, of doing the math correctly. Meaning when you're trying to increase your protein, it breaks down into a molecular cellular level of actually what you're getting from the food that you're eating. If you're trying to eat food that you're only getting half of it, yeah, you're going to see some type of a beneficial result. But when you're really getting almost twice as much actual protein to uptake into your body, the results are unparalleled. So I won't go into it, but I was really excited about that study. So those are kind of the results and stuff that they've seen, and this is why. But increasing proteins, everything else, playing around with some of these numbers, helping you get past the plateau. And also if you're under, last thing I'll kind of mention is under a lot of stress. So excess stress and what that does for the body cortisol-wise. When you're under a lot of stress, and stress will impact your female hormones. Stress will impact everything else in your system. And cortisol will actually take a lot of these proteins and convert it into sugar and want to be stored in the body. Yay! So one way to combat that, if you're under a lot of stress or somebody you know is under a lot of stress and they just feel like junk, increasing their proteins is going to change their world. And it'll happen pretty quickly. It'll happen within a couple of days. If they can do this, eat more proteins and do that for a couple of days, and they're like, oh, this is, you know, like something happened. Like this is like, you know, a big thing. that happened for them. They got dumped or somebody died or, and they're like, ugh, right? Increasing their proteins within a few days, boom, they will be like, I physically am feeling better because they're getting more protein into their body to help stop the gluconeogenesis, that conversion of protein to sugar. So yeah, another little tip there. If you're under more stress, going through a stressful time, students who are going through finals, stuff like that. Maybe stressful times that, happen in the media. Boost your protein. Get ready.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. So many benefits. And that scale may not move for 3 months. Yeah. It may not. Here, I'm going to unmute. Okay. There.
Careful, puppy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I have a friend that she lost almost 20 inches in the first 4 days, but she lost like 5 pounds, and she's doing her first one today, and she's complaining. 17 inches in the first 4 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but she's complaining because she didn't lose. She thought the weight would come off faster. I'm like, don't get on the scale. I'm going to kill you.
Oh.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the scale can't change. Do you know what I mean? It can't change because it's building that lean muscle and it's shifting everything else. That's why scales are really the wrong thing to look at. But, and again, scale-wise, that 12-week mark for women is really to look at the scale.
Okay.
Hormonally, everything else in the body, everything else you're looking at. If you're looking at shorter than 12 weeks, you're selling yourself short.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. This is great.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, that's kind of all I want. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much, because this was incredible. I learn something new all the time. So if people want to learn more, where could they go? How could they find out more?
Yeah. So
What
I'm
do you
on.
think they could do?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook all the time. And there's also, so I have another 6-week group starting. I do a 6-week challenge where I take, a meal plan that actually lays all the stuff out for you and more. I've laid it all out for you. There's meal plan, grocery list, support, all these other things. We'll dive in even to exercise for your hormones and cycle and everything else, which I haven't talked a lot about yet. But it's all laid out for you there. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a link that we can connect you and go through so you can learn more and more about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Next call.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions, find me on Facebook and message me.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks so much, Beth. This was so awesome. Thank you for your time. And I'll post the recording and the link to Beth's 6-week Jumpstart. And feel free to reach out to myself or Beth, and we'll point you in the right direction.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.